Hello and welcome. This is Delia Yeager. Thanks for clicking on. And I wanted to jump on here today to answer some questions about what is energy healing. And we're just going to go over a little bit about what energy is and what energy healings are. Everybody, I think, learned in third grade physical science class that energy never dies, it just changes form. So water never dies, it just turns into steam, it evaporates, it turns into clouds, it comes down as rain, it cycles through, for instance. And we are of the physical world. Our amazing bodies are animals, and that always kind of freaks people out, but our bodies are in the animal kingdom. And we are infinite beings, we're spirits. And spirit and infinite beings are just adjectives for or descriptions for something that doesn't have matter. Its essential nature is beyond matter. So I think of bodies as our native guides, right? So the body lives in time and space. It's from this dimension, it's from this reality, it's from this physical world. And the body is an extraordinary sensory system. If it had been, if it was man-made by NASA or SpaceX, it would be a gazillion-dollar machine of great value, and everybody would be awed by how amazing this sensory system is. In the old days, they called it a tricorder, and we were all awed by that. So the body, being made of matter, is sensitive to energy and vibrations. Bodies can feel not only seismic energies before they register. When I lived in LA, I would have a sense of vertigo, and it turned out my body was sensing earthquakes, within like 1,000 miles or so. I don't know what that is. So if your body is matter, then it's made up of energy. All the cells and atoms and molecules are energy. They're physical representations of energy. They're a physical expression of energy. So when we talk about energy healing, it's not really far-fetched at all. Science knows that noise can kill things. That's why everybody gets so upset about the noise that they're polluting the oceans with, that are having a bad effect on the animals in the ocean. Science knows that sleep deprivation is a great torture tool. And our modern culture likes to use a lot of tools from torture. Sleep deprivation and overstimulation over time. Sound can be very invasive, not being able to get away from sound. So it's just very interesting to see these days, like in movie theater, in restaurants. Now there's not only music kind of blaring, but there's also TVs, and not just one TV, but lots of TVs. And some of them are on, and many of them are on different stations, and all these different all these different volume levels. So the body that is organically designed to be in the normal state, which is out of fight or flight, the state of repose. If you know anything about the vagus nerve, for instance, we're supposed to be at rest, or at least not in an excited fight, flight, freeze state. But so many aspects of our culture are designed now to keep us in fight, flight, freeze. And as long as everybody is in fight, flight, freeze and overstimulated and under rested and out of kilter, then we'll just call it the powers that be, or that want us, out of our bodies and out of our heads and out of our sense. We're that sense that you may have of being, what's that phrase, that funny way of saying it? Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. And, I'm not telling you this to make you upset. I'm telling you this to validate your experience, because you're already experiencing these things. And then usually what happens is people think, oh, well, no, I'm just being too sensitive, or I watch too many conspiracy movies or whatever. There's all these different ways that we will talk ourselves out of our knowing. And when you talk yourself out of your knowing, you create a little split with yourself. And it's as though you leave you and go stand outside of you and point back at you and go, you're wrong. You're imagining somebody else telling you that you're reading too much into things. And then you're leaving your point of view, which is, no, this is crazy. And you're going out to their point of view and saying, you're reading too much into things. See what I mean? And the more amusement you can have about all this stuff, the better, because amusement it's like laser, it cuts through all kinds of crap. And it's the highest healing vibration there is. So the more you can have amusement about living in this nutty world, the less you're buying into it and the less you're taking it seriously. And the point is, the less that you're going and doing this to yourself, right? So that's good. Having amusement is very good. All right. So the way healing goes these days is, like there's the idea of talk therapy or psychiatry, right? Which has evolved into chemical dispensary. And regular talk therapy, like with a therapist, psychotherapist or something. And talk therapy really requires a lot of cognitive participation. It's kind of what it is. It's cognitive process. So when you were little, if you went through something that was traumatic or really shocking to your system, an adult behaving badly towards you. And I don't mean like, just rude Aunt Fern. I mean, invading you in some way. So that's very shocking to the system when that kind of thing happens. And so when we're shocked, oftentimes we kind of split a little bit, like a little part of us gets frozen in that moment. And it's usually the apex moment. So the moment of the most horrendousness, whatever is happening. And then a part of us gets stuck there. So when you're doing cognitive therapy, you can't really address that moment because the part of you that was there isn't available to you because it's stuck there. So there's a lot of things about talk therapy that are wonderful and that are great. I'm not bashing talk therapy or psychiatry or anything else. If those things are working for you, by all means. And this is not a substitute for that. But if you have not had the kind of results that you want to have, then energy healing may be ideal for you. So let's use this analogy that we're talking about a situation where, as a young child, something happened and a part of you got stuck back there. And now you can't remember your childhood, or you can't remember anything untoward or icky happening, but you know that every time certain things happen, you respond in a particular way that doesn't really make any cognitive sense to you, right? So, with energy healing, there's a way to be with that energy again, not you having to relive it, but there is a way to bring it back into your conscious awareness so that we can transform the moment. The moment where things are frozen is the moment that has the most potential to release. And this can be done, it's done a lot, in a very remarkably easy, easy for your body process. And then on the other side of the release, you actually have a lot of the vitality and the optimism or the brightness that you had not been able to get to for a while. So this is part of what energy healing can be. It's about liberation. My favorite thing is freedom. And not just, it used to be, freedom meant getting away from stuff. And now freedom is like towards, right? There's like more possibilities and more abundance and more, right? In the luscious way, because this is a very luscious planet, and things are very out of whack. But they're out of whack within each person, and it's reflected on the outside. And there's this, you can call it it's almost like let's call it a holographic experience of things that are out of whack. And the more you get them in alignment and in correspondence with congruent, right, with your own higher self, right, then all kinds of things are possible that didn't used to be possible for you. Another aspect of an energy healing is moving the energy. So let's say, well, just think about something that happened to you as a child. Not the worst thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, pick something that has a heat of like a 3 or a 5, not the 10. And just what does everybody have in common? Okay. Somewhere along the way, everybody has had the message that you're not enough. In fact, we're getting that message pretty much every day through every medium that there is. So just don't do this if you're driving, but if you're at home or at your desk, just close your eyes and take a couple of nice deep breaths. And just be in touch with that feeling, that energy that you're not enough. Yeah. Notice how it kind of has a draining quality to it. It like takes the energy out, it takes the air out of the room. Yeah. Okay. All right. So everywhere that you have a conclusion, decision, assumption, instruction, projection that says that you are not enough, and everywhere that you have been holding that as though it were true, and everywhere you've been rearranging every cell and atom of your body and being into alignment with this, either through agreeing and aligning or resisting and rebelling, or pretending it's not there, which is a form of resistance. And everything that is, and everything that I'm not saying, from this or any other body, lifetime, universe, or dimension, are you now ready to recant, rescind, destroy, and uncreate all that times that God's doing? Whew. Yeah. Say yes out loud so you can hear it. Yeah. And pat your body. Good body. And when I say pat the body, it's like a gentle rubbing. It's not, like a dog. Whew. Yeah. Notice a difference in your energy. All right. So everywhere that you have had, we're going to keep going. So keep your eyes closed. So everywhere that you've had any contracts, any loyalty oaths written in blood and stone, written in your blood or somebody else's blood, and all of the contracts that if I keep believing the lie that I'm not good enough, then it's going to pay off someday. It's going to make me better. It's going to make me fit in with people. And all of the bills of sales or deeds of trust, any kind of contract and agreement and binding that you have with this you're not enough lie, known and unknown from this or any other body, lifetime, universe, or dimension, are you now ready to recant, rescind, destroy, and uncreate all that times a godzillion? Woo! Yeah. Good body. Yeah. Whew. That's a lot of energy. So my body's responding to all this energy that we're releasing. That's how it should be. All right. All right. Another layer of this is any helper beings that you've ever hired, known or unknown, in that moment of fear when you called out for help and the answer, and you got the answer, and the helper beings that came have never left. So if you could fire all of them and let them go, because you actually have the power now, you're grown up, you have a lot of resources that you didn't have then. Are you ready to release them so that you can have a completely different experience of life in this luscious body on this amazing planet at this incredible time? If yes, just say yes. If no, that's fine. We're not getting rid of anything that's actually you want to keep. Whew. Good body. All right. So just notice how your body feels. Usually it's like your head is not only lighter, but it's less dense, less foggy. A lot of times people's eyesight clears, things get brighter. The hearing often clears, again, being able to hear better. Not that it was bad before, but it's better now. Could be warm or cool, or just like an opening around the chest. The shoulders tend to feel better. The neck is more relaxed. Breathing tends to be better. Yeah. So this is a little sample, a little taste of what energy healing feels like. See how non-cognitive it is? It's much more closer to what we mean when we say intuitive. Whew, yeah. So when it comes to healing is just another word for change. Particularly, the way I see it is healing. We need healing when something has gotten stuck or is being held, usually by lies, misinformation. Sometimes it's nefarious lies. Sometimes it's just stupid stuff. Doesn't really matter. If it stops the energy, if it stops your being able to connect with your infinite self, if it stops your ability to be really aware of how infinite you are and that you have this amazing body. You're not this amazing body, but you do have this amazing body. Then that's something that's coming up for healing. And a lot of times the way we're aware of something coming up for healing, it's we feel bad. Pardon me, I'm having a lot of allergies. I have a lot of stuff coming up and out from healing from my lungs. So healing is your system saying something is in here that doesn't belong in here. And so let's move it out. And because we are energy and because we are bodies and because our bodies have consciousness and every cell of our bodies has consciousness, really the cognitive part of our lives is very narrow. It's very small. It happens to be the only thing that gets validated and recognized as who we are and what we're capable of, in a world that cuts out, arts classes from schools as though arts don't matter. Everything about our educational system and our judicial system and our economy seems to all point towards the only contribution a body can make is cognitive. And regardless what the cognitive opinions about that is, it's you can tell it's true. So what that inadvertently says is that 9/10 of your wisdom and awareness doesn't matter, right? And then you're cutting yourself off. When you agree with that, you're cutting yourself off. And when you resist it, you're agreeing with it, so you're cutting yourself off. So when we do energy healing, you can feel it. It has a sensory quality to it. You have your senses can sense it, right? You can hear different, that's a sense. You see different, that's a sense. Your body can relax more, that's a sense, right? So you have all these senses that are telling you that this is a different reality than the one that you were in before. And a lot, if not all, of the bars of our prisons are these ideas that have been repeated over and over and over again, to where we forget that they're an idea and start to believe them as a truth, right? So this thing about you're not good enough is just so ubiquitous that a lot of times a body will believe it just because it's heard it so often, right? Like in politics right now, they're doing that thing where that guy in Germany is famous for saying, if you tell a big enough lie and you tell it over and over and over again, people will start to believe it. And one of the big lies that we're currently living under is you're not enough. And then we have a society that's built on that lie. And so we get examples and proofs of that through the school system and in the jobs and kinds of jobs that are available and the kinds of jobs that get paid well and the kinds of jobs that don't get paid well. It's just kind of everywhere. So maybe you've heard the Einstein thing about, I think it's Einstein, about if you're going to create a new world or solve a problem, you can't do it with the same thinking that got you in this situation in the first place. It's said better than that, but you see the point. So energy healing is a lot about clearing out the closets, right? Clearing out the misinformation. And one of the greatest things about energy healing is that you can't get rid of something that you actually are working on or need, right? Your higher self is always involved and always in charge of the energy healing. So every piece of misinformation that you have that's stopping you or holding you back, when we're in the healing process, if it's not moving, it's because it has something to share. And there is enough conversation engagement, verbal engagement, not so much conversation, verbal engagement in the process, that we look at what is being stuck, what's stuck, and what does it want you to know? What does it want to share with you? And then you can release it. So an energy healing is different from, certainly from any kind of conventional therapy. And it's different from just lying there and not thinking at all. It's a little bit like this doesn't make any sense at all, but it's a little bit like a massage for your insides, for your thinker feeler, and it's cleansing. So the little work that we did here, the small amount of work that we did here, the introductory amount of work we did here on You're Not Enough, is a small taste. And when we're working on specific areas and specific topics, either in a group or one-to-one, then you get to even have more sensation of relief as things move. So it definitely puts you in a different reality. And it's a reality without so much holding you back and holding you down and making you feel crazy. So that's what an energy healing is. And I'd love to hear your questions or comments, as I always like to get a better refined version of what this is so that people can find it available to them more. Okay. So thank you so much for listening. And I'll have my information below. And I hope to hear from you very soon. All right. Take care. Thanks.